I wanted to ask you guys, because it kind of leads into this, is the idea of the power of community, or what you call the power of champions, right? Not doing this alone and being willing to ask for help, or put yourself in a place where you can get help. I experience this all the time, where I think people, especially at least when you're talking to people about enrollment into coaching programs where they can get help, a lot of times people, I find, are kind of married to their struggle. Like they really want to keep struggling, or they want to keep, this should be hard. So can you talk a little bit about the role of community or champions in people's success here?
Yeah, champions or a support system is really, really key. You cannot do this alone, Jeff. I know you'll know that you'll support that as well, because we all have really good people who we surround ourselves with who've helped us get here. Jim Rohn, I think, was the one who said you're the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. And if you're just trying to do things on your own, you can't get better. There's literally no way to do it. So this reminds me of a story. My wife is involved in this story. When I was first starting out my architecture website in 2008, I really wanted to do it all myself. There was some sense of pride that comes along with just the struggle and then the triumph of figuring those things out. So I was learning JavaScript, learning CSS. Like looking back, I'm like, I had no business doing that because I was not good at it. And it just was a struggle. And I remember I had built my website. It was on WordPress, but I was trying to figure out how to get an image from the left side of the page to the right side of the page. And it took me 8 hours to figure it out, and I couldn't do it. And my wife was seeing me struggle, and she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm just having a hard time doing this. She's like, what are you trying to do? And I showed her, and she handed her phone to me with somebody on the other line. It was her friend Mel from college, who is in web design. And he basically solved the problem for me in 3 minutes. I was just like, yeah, okay, got it. Boom, done. And that was it. And if only I had asked for help earlier, I could have gone further and actually done things that mattered more versus trying to waste my time trying to figure this out because of what? Pride? Who cares? I need to get this thing done and serve people. So I could have done it much faster. But again, a lot of this is psychological, just us getting in our own way. But the emotional and sort of direct support I had from my wife April at the time was really key. But she's not the only player in this. There's the emotional support that can come from friends and family, which is key. They might not know the same language you're speaking when it comes to what you're trying to do, but having that support system emotionally is key. The colleagues and peers that you have is sort of the second level of champions in your life. These people who are in it with you. They are going through the same motions. They have gone through these motions with you. They are in the thick of it. They are in the trenches with you. They can hold you accountable. You can group up and partner with them and slay these dragons together with you, which is pretty cool. And that's really important as well. Peers and colleagues like mastermind groups and things like that are just vital. And again, helping others as they help you and having this sort of knights of the round table component versus somebody at the head of the table. That's why the table is round. I think that's key. And then you have your virtual mentors and your personal mentors, the people who will kind of take you under their wing and kind of give you specific direct advice for you and your situation and look after you. Whether you pay for that or you get, some really kind person to help you, that can be the ultimate level. I remember when I was learning how to race in a triathlon, I knew nothing about it, and he helped guide me. His name is also Jeff, and I'm still working with him 10 years later, and he helped me out for free, but now we've kind of mutually helped each other in all different kinds of ways, myself with his business and he with my fitness. And again, there are so many great people out there who are willing to help. You just have to be open to it and realize that it's better together. And the other part about this that I found, especially with entrepreneurs who struggle with this a little bit, is a lot of it comes down to this world of abundance that we are in and not thinking that the world is abundant. A lot of people think we live in something that's more like a poker table where, Jeff, if you're winning, that means I'm losing. Or if I'm winning, that means you're losing. And if you think about the world in that way, that's just going to suck. And you're not going to be able to make good friends in that way. We live in this amazing world where we can all get more chips. And if we actually work together, more chips are going to come out of nowhere, and we're able to share and help each other out. And that's how it should be. And so find your people. And that's why communities like the ones that you guys have. We have a community at SPI, the Pokemon community. We are surrounded by people who get it, who understand the language, who understand the struggles, but also can be there to support one another. And you also are together rooting for something, right? And that brings a sense of humanness to this world that I think is really important. That's why we're seeing a lot of live events now, not just in the Pokemon space, but in general, being a very key strategy for a lot of entrepreneurs because people are craving that in-person sort of human experience again versus the very artificial things that we're seeing online where you don't even know what's real anymore. So just something to think about.
Can we double click on the force function around teaching something to be able to make it distinctions, like with your book. This all came naturally to me. I'm paraphrasing you, but this is stuff I've been doing for a long time. And then you sat down to write a book as a force function to be able to make those distinctions. And this is something, I've got a couple areas of my life that I'm just really good at, but I'm unconsciously good at it. And I'd like to teach it, but I'm intimidated by teaching it. In fact, you mentioned Yannick Silver earlier, and Yannick's one of my oldest and dearest friends in the industry. He was just out at our mastermind as my guest here in Durango, and he uncovered one of them, and he just started pushing me. You got to teach this. You got to teach it. You got to teach it. And I'm like, I'm scared to. I don't know.
May I ask what is it, or are you willing to share?
It's about how to be successful without messing up your health and your relationships. Basically, it's about how to have a great life, all around life, while being a kick-ass entrepreneur.
I love it. I'm not going to dive in deep with you on that because I'm sure Yannick has already given you some of that. But
yeah, he had me squirming. Yeah.
But like, imagine that you were able to put something together, whether it's a book or a course or a program or a one-day workshop or something. It would force you to compartmentalize a lot of this stuff, to understand the relationship between certain things, to even discover while you were looking to teach this interactions and these like nuances of it that you didn't even know were there, so that you can even reinforce them for yourself, for your family, for the others around you, for your students, etc. Like, this is what lean learning has done for me. These are ways that I've always like approached things, but by defining these things, by defining the inspiration matrix, by understanding that there's different levels of champions in my life and realizing that, maybe one is more plentiful than the others and I need a balance. The idea of micro mastery and how I approach things and by breaking them down into little things and micro focusing on just one component of it for a certain period of time. Now that I know that that's how I do it, I can now plan for that. I can now build for that. I'm now getting even faster at the way I acquire certain skills because I now understand more about myself in that process. And I think that maybe in addition to already living a healthy, fulfilled life, what if you were able to unlock even more health and more fulfillment through the understanding of what is working for you and leaning into those things?
That it's an interesting question. I will tell you that my palms are literally sweating right now that I actually said that out in public.
That's cool.
I mean, which is maybe a signal that I really do need to do this, but literally my palms are sweating.
I think that you might even hear some messages from people who hear this podcast who would who would probably only want to learn that from you. Here's a question that I ask in the book to help with a lot of this stuff if you're making decisions about anything and anything you want to do or attempt to do. And that's this question I got from Tim Ferriss, which is, if this were easy, what would it look like? Maybe you teaching this simply is just a podcast episode where, Dan and Chris interview you just about this topic, and that's it. Maybe that's your way of putting it out there in the world without having to sit down for hours and try to, you're just kind of stream of consciousness talking about it, which in and of itself can help you unpack these things. Just like how when you're in therapy and you're talking about certain things, you start to go, I never made that connection before, but now that I say it out loud, I see it. And now I can deal with it. Those kinds of things happen. And so it doesn't have to be hard. It could be pretty simple. Or maybe it's just a journal entry that you have for yourself. And that's it. That can help you extrapolate some of this stuff too.
It's interesting. We've seen this conversation, and we don't turn this into therapy for Jeff. But I was out to dinner. Yannick came out. We were in Durango. We came out a day early. We went for a hike. We went out to a really nice dinner. And he said, "What creative thing are you not doing because it scares you?" And I said, "Well, it'd be like a book on this." And he just dug into me. He wouldn't let it go. I'm like, "Well, no, a book is like 2 years of my life. So maybe I could do this as an online, just like a workshop." And so I did start going down that route of how do we make it easy, but you just took it another level.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. And this is the power of just talking things through, even just like us talking about this for the last 3 minutes. You're starting to uncover maybe new pathways that this could lead to that weren't there before, versus what, again, most people do is we have these thoughts and we just keep them in, and we only know what we know. We only see what we see. You can't read the label when you're inside the bottle. So you need these people on the outside of that bottle to kind of like point these things out. And this is why masterminds are great. This is why friendships like what you have with Yannick and I have with a few other people on my end here, where we talk deeply about these things. I wouldn't be where I am today if it weren't for these other people. So champions are important. These people who, when you succeed, they will be genuinely happy for you. That is a champion. And for many, that could be rare. But like with my buddy Alex, who had that quote, "Count uploads, not likes," like he and I, you could look at the surface and go, oh, you guys are competitors. You guys are competing for attention in the Pokemon space. We share everything with each other. When I share that, like, oh my gosh, this video just hit 10 million views, I know that it's not going to come with, oh man, like I wish that was me. No, he's super stoked about it. And then I'm stoked on him when he reaches a new sponsorship deal with somebody or something like that. Like that's so cool. And finding those people in your life is really, really important because they're going to root for you and they want you to win and they're going to help you just like you can help them.
Hey, Launch family, real quick before you go, if PLF has helped you or inspired you, this is your chance to share it and to get paid for it. We're opening the doors for PLF partners and affiliates. And whether you're in marketing, knitting, breathwork, or any other type of niche, if you've got a story and a following, this is your moment. We'll give you everything you need: swipe copy, strategy support, and a world-class launch built to convert. Head on over to productlaunchformula.com/affiliate to join our PLF affiliate team, and we'll turn your story into some real momentum.